It is now 7:31 p.m. on 4/29/2025. I'm officially opening the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. This is a virtual meeting. And our agenda tonight, we have the minutes, but I see we have all the applicants here, so I'm going to bypass the minutes and move to all the cases. We're going to do them in the order that they are listed. And the first one is a public hearing for 429 Liberty. Oh, before we do that, which I always forget to do, let's recognize the members that are here. So present tonight at the meeting for members, we have Dan Stuntz.
Present.
Sean McCormick.
Present.
Michael Toops.
Michael Toops present.
And Mark Barbadoro is present. Okay. So, in accordance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40A, Boxborough Zoning Appeals Bylaw, Section 5.5, Location of Accessory Structures, and Section 4.3.3, Non-conforming Uses and Structures, and Section 2.2, Board of Appeals, and Section 2.3, Special Permits, the Boxborough Zoning Board of Appeals will conduct a public hearing on Tuesday, April 29th, 2025, p.m. to review the application for a special permit submitted by property owner John Halverson. The applicant seeks to demolish an existing and rebuild a new garage. Is the applicant present?
Yes, I see the applicant in the room. John, you should be able to unmute yourself and speak to the board freely.
Yep.
So, okay, great. Why don't you tell us about your project?
Sure. Thanks. So my name is John Halverson. My family lives at 429 Liberty Square Road. And we've lived here for 8 years. And when we moved here, we inherited what some might call a garage. We've kind of lived with it and used it as a shed. It's got termite damage. It's probably a 10 to 15 degree lean on it at this point. And last fall, the door stopped closing because of the lean. So effectively now our, kids' toys and tractor and lawnmower and such are exposed to public on Liberty Square Road. So we are in front of you today to hopefully get approval for a special permit to finally knock this garage down and rebuild a new 2-car garage as proposed.
Okay. I took a look at your application, and I also drove by your property, and I saw the lean of the existing garage. It is definitely canted off to the right, and the door clearly does not function. I could see that from the street. It's a lovely house, and you intend to build a 26 by 24 garage or a 26 by 26 garage? I can't remember which.
26 square.
Okay. It'll be a 2-car garage. From the plan, it appears that the setbacks will be maintained to the side street, and so theoretically that would indicate that we would not be increasing the non-conforming nature of the structure, but the structure itself will be being enlarged. So did you bring anyone with you to present other than yourself on this project? Just you?
Just me.
Okay. So Alec, could you give your a brief report? I know you gave it to us, but I got it late and I didn't have an opportunity to read it.
Yeah, happy to provide it. For the board and for members of the public who are watching along, I've pulled up here the proposed plan of land submitted by John and his family. What you'll see is that the property acquires its frontage along Liberty Square Road, and it's a corner lot along Sargent Road. The existing single-family home at 2.5 stories is located here. What you'll see is that it does meet all of the setbacks as required. I know there's lots of lines on the plan, but I do want to highlight this and distinguish for everybody what the nonconformity here is. The reason that the applicant is here before the board is because it's a nonconforming lot. None of the structures themselves are nonconforming, but the lot fails to meet the dimensional requirements for a lot in the agricultural residential district. Specifically, the AgRes district calls for 60,000 square feet of lot area, where the property only has 48,938 square feet. That being said, it's important as we go through this process to understand the structures where they're proposed to be sited so that we aren't creating any new nonconformities here. But it's my opinion that what is being proposed is not going to increase the nonconformity in any way, shape, or form. No land area is lost through the application process, and this district isn't subject to lot percentage or lot coverage. Instead, we're looking at a typical accessory structure, which is only a fraction of the total gross square footage of the existing single-family home as proposed. So my recommendation to the board is that you do approve this application with the simple condition that the decision be recorded with the Middlesex South Registry of Deeds prior to issuing of a building permit. It'll go through its typical appeals process, but then they'll be able to start work pretty quickly thereafter.
Okay, thanks, Alec. And I should have done this earlier, actually, before we started taking testimony. We're right now 4 out of 5 members present at this meeting, and I should have told you that we need a supermajority to approve your application. We have enough members to form a supermajority to approve your application, but when we have 5 members, that allows you to have 1 member dissent and still have a permit issued. So I always try and give the applicant an opportunity to decide for themselves if they want to take the risk of having us make a finding on this case with only 4 members, or would you rather we continue it until we have 5 members present? Do you have a preference?
I'd prefer to try to move forward now.
Okay. Okay. In that case, we've got our presentation. Is there any comments from the board? Michael Toops.
Yeah, just 2 quick questions. So this garage is and will continue to be detached, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
And then I guess the other comment would be, since we changed the lot area requirement, oh gosh, years ago at town meeting, this would have been a conforming lot prior to the action of town meeting in the, oh gosh, in the mid 2000s, I believe. So that, yeah, but we're still maintaining all the appropriate setbacks for that region. It's only the nonconformity of the lot area that is the issue at this time, correct?
That's correct as far as we know. So the non-conforming nature of the premises is the lot area itself, and that the proposed structure would be allowed on a conforming lot in its present location.
Yes.
Any other questions or comments from the board? So I don't have any either, except to say, are you planning, it's not terribly relevant to the outcome, but how are you planning to face the garage? You're facing it with the doors towards the Liberty Square Road as this current one is? Is that your goal?
Yes, exactly. We hope to, it's a little bit of a tough angle, hope to just kind of keep it parallel facing towards Liberty Square with the house. Really the only thing we had hoped to do was to shift it a little bit farther from the house, because if you walk out of our side steps and you were to park a car in front of the garage, you basically walk right into the car. And given that we have, more leniency with the setback bylaw towards Sargent Road, we thought that was an okay adjustment to make.
So when you have when the substandard lot is for a 1 or 2 family dwelling, we're really only looking at, are you increasing the non-conforming nature or not? And if you are increasing the non-conforming nature, then we have to decide if it's detrimental to the neighborhood. But it appears that you're not doing that. So the first test seems to satisfy.
Yeah, we're certainly not increasing or decreasing the size of our lot. That would be a whole different conversation.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think the neighbors want to look at our tractor anymore either, or our garbage cans.
So, any thoughts on the board as how we should proceed? Sean?
I think if there's no further comment from anyone in the public, we should close the public hearing and move it to a vote.
Yeah, and you're right. And so I'm just going to check one more time. Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak on this matter? And hearing none. So, Sean, that's your motion?
The motion would be to close the public hearing.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Motion by Sean, second by Than. Any discussion? Hearing none. Michael Toops?
Michael Toops, aye.
Sean McCormick?
McCormick, aye.
Dan Stunts?
Dunn's aye.
And Mark Barbadoro, aye. Okay, so board, is there any concerns about any conditions that might be necessary in order to make this be not detrimental to the neighborhood? I'm not even sure that that's actually a valid question, given that there is no increase in the non-conforming nature. So, is there any decision, any conditions other than being in substantial conformance to the site plan that's provided that anyone could see? Alec?
Where this is a special permit, I would request the board require that the permit be recorded with the South Middlesex Registry of Deeds and proof of recording be provided back to the town. That protects the property owner as well, just making sure we have it on file.
Sounds good. Anything else that we would need to provide? Normally we do like to have plans, but this is a garage. I don't see that as really germane right now, although other board members might.
I would just, if I could say to that.
Actually, I'm sorry, sir. When we close the meeting, we can't take input from you anymore. I apologize.
Okay. Okay.
Anything else that we need to see in order to issue this permit? Any conditions? Any Michael Toops?
I'm struggling trying to find, he's replacing the existing garage. I'm trying to remember, what was the issue that we ran into with non-conforming lots for additional accessory structures? I don't think this applies here, but I'm trying to remember which ordinance that was. If you remember, we had the issue with the person who wanted the pool on a non-conforming lot. I think this doesn't trigger that because we're replacing an existing structure to begin with.
Boy, my memory is so bad, but I do remember you. I do remember the case you're referring to. I can't remember what the issue was. We do have the 200% rule.
No, this was basically an issue with an additional structure on a non-conforming lot. But since we're replacing one, I don't think we trigger that problem at all. But that's you know. Does Wade remember the? Well, he probably wasn't here at that point, but I tried in trouble finding it in the existing zoning bylaw.
No. So, Michael, to your point, the application you're referring to doesn't ring a bell. I believe it predates me. What I will note is yeah. What I will note that there is an existing accessory structure, and so this would be replacement of an existing structure. So if the board is for any reason grappling with the addition, just know that it's a replacement, not a new structure in its entirety.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it being a replacement. In fact, I'm sure that's the out. I was just trying to remember if we need a site that we're in compliance with that particular regulation, but I haven't got a chance to find that one yet. Other than that, I don't have an
I
issue.
can't remember. I can't remember. The only other issue I have that I think Alec addressed in his report was, we have a 200% increase in use that we're allowed on a non-conforming lot. But I think Alec analyzed the building, the main house and the garage, and in aggregate, it is a pretty tremendous amount of space. So if we view this as the area square footage in aggregate, they would still have a long way to go before they'd be in violation. If we look at it in terms of just the garage, then that would mean that they might be over their 100% increase in size. So it's just something to think about, but I'm going to give Michael a little bit of time because he's still looking. So, Sean, did you want to say something?
I was going to move the question, Mr. Chair.
Okay. All right. So you'd just like to see us approve the application as proposed in substantial conformity to the site plan with Alec's conditions.
Yeah, and I would add that I think the motion is to the extent that the new accessory structure is a expansion of the non-conforming nature of the property, then we would find that it's not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. I think that's probably the technical way to phrase this one.
I would agree, but I think just to clarify, I don't think it is an increase in the non-conforming nature if the nature is the lot.
I agree. I agree with you.
Okay. So I think that should be one of the findings that we make in the decision. Okay.
All right. So I would propose this for a motion that the board, having found that this accessory structure is not an expansion of the existing lawful non-conforming nature of the property, that we approve the application as with the conditions articulated by the town planner.
Okay. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Okay, seconded by Fan. Is there any discussion with that? Hearing none. Michael Toops?
Michael Toops, aye.
Sean McCormick?
McCormick, aye.
Dan Stunts?
Stunts, aye.
And Mark Barbadoro, aye. Thanks for coming, John. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Have a good night. Chris Crum, would you like to make a statement?
Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt, Mr. Chairman, but we had on the agenda, we were just a minor modification that was supposed to be in the beginning of the agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did we bypass you?
Yeah, no worries. I just want to bring it to your attention. That's all.
I appreciate that. Let me take a look at that. Sorry about that.
No problem. It's for 95 Swanson Road.
Yeah, Mark, my apologies. I think the agenda in the packet is still outdated. We did amend the agenda since its original posting to clarify the minor modification, which was in your packet at the time, but not explicitly listed. So we went back and added that in for compliance with open meeting law.
Oh, I apologize. Okay, I'll go and find that right now.
I will also note, Mark, that I do think the minor modification is probably the faster of the two remaining agenda items. So if you want to get them in and out, we can start that one or the hearing in order, whichever you prefer.
I think that's a good plan. Alec, could you put the revised agenda on the screen? I apologize. I can't find it. You'll find it quicker.
Yep, happy to do so. Yep. So you'll see when we made the revision to note the minor modification.
Oh,
here.
very, very small one. This is a meeting item, not a hearing. Okay.
Correct. Yep.
All right. Yeah, we'll hear that, sir. Do you want to tell us about your what you're intending?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Chris Crump. I'm representing Kip Khan, and we're here today to put together to request a minor modification to the approved special permit of a decision number 2023-3 dated August 16, 2023. The owners of this apartment building are at 95 Swanson Road, are looking to save some costs as they're having a little bit of an override on cost. And so they'd like to update the exterior of this 1973 style apartment building, which is currently has brick and stucco. And they're going to replace it with Everlast vinyl siding, which if you believe it or not, there is a higher end of vinyl siding, and this is it. And the vinyl siding, they're also going to have PVC corner boards, window trim, and so forth. And the trim will all be rabbited on the back, so you won't see any J channels for the vinyl siding. So it'll look very close and comparable to regular clapboard siding, wood clapboard siding. So that's what we're looking to do, and would love to hear the boards. I'm here for any questions you might have.
Okay, so this, just to refresh myself and anyone who reads the minutes, this was a building that was destroyed by fire, right? And there was a special permit issued to reconstruct the substantially similar building, and now the materials, exterior finishes are going to be modified to be vinyl instead of stucco and brick. And so the question that would be before the board is whether or not they think that this is so substantial an alteration that this would require a hearing. I believe that's in our current rules and regs, that if we have a really substantial alteration, we actually should notice it as a hearing before we decide and then modify it with a supermajority vote. Does the board have any concerns about this being maybe more than just a minor modification? And I'm seeing Sean saying no, and I tend to agree. How do you feel, Dan and Michael? Does this require a hearing?
It's minor.
Okay. Dan, you're good with minor modification?
Yeah, I'm good with minor modification. Yep.
Okay. I'm going to appoint Dan for this hearing as well, or meeting as well, to vote on this decision. I also feel it is a minor modification, and I don't feel like it should be treated as new construction. It's a reconstruction, not by the choice of the applicants. So as long as, Chris, you're representing the applicants and not the insurance company or the developer or the carpenter, whatever, you're representing the property owners, then I am fine with that personally, but it's, we need a vote of the board. Okay.
So, Mr. Chair, just as a point of order, is there a separate vote to determine that it is minor and then a subsequent vote to whether or not to approve the modification? So two motions, two votes?
I think you could do it in two, or I think, Sean, we should at least acknowledge it in our decision. So I think a vote would be required. So if you want to do it both at once, if you think it's appropriate, or do them separately, I'm fine either way.
Well, I think probably just in the interest of being overly cautious, we'll do it as two. So the first motion would be that the board determine that the request is properly before it under the minor modification procedure.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Sean, second by Dan, that this is a minor modification of a special permit. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Sean McCormick?
McCormick, aye.
Dan Stuntz,
Stunts aye.
Michael Toops,
Michael Toops, aye.
and Mark Barbadoro, aye. Okay, this is a minor modification. Now we need to decide if it is something we want to approve.
So, Mr. Chair, I would move to approve the modification in exterior finishing materials to the vinyl as described, and that all other provisions of the 2023 special permit remain unaffected by the modification.
Is there a second?
Second.
Sorry.
Chris?
I just want to make sure that we put in there that we would have the composite or PVC trim boards as well. Just so there's any confusion, make sure it's clear, if you don't mind.
So you want composite trim board and vinyl siding?
Yes, please, sir.
Okay, are we good to amend the motion with that criteria?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So is there any discussion?
Does the seconder accept the amendment?
Well, why don't we just reinforce it? If you want to do it, Michael, that'd be great, and we'll know.
All right, well, I'll second the amendment. I guess were we modifying the original statement or actually amending it? If it's amendment, I second the amendment.
Okay, so then that now is there a second to the motion so that we can motion to approve the modification with vinyl siding and composite trim as proposed by Mr. Crump?
I'm happy to second that motion. the new amended motion.
Okay, the motion as amended. Awesome. Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none. Dan Stuntz.
Stunts aye.
Michael Toops.
Michael Toops, aye.
Sean McCormick.
McCormick, aye.
And Mark Barbadoro, aye. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, everybody. Have
a great day.
good night.
Okay. And from my agenda again, I am not doing a good job today. Apologize for that. I have way too many tabs open. Okay, so this would be the continuation of Summer Road. Is that right, Alec?
That's correct, Mr. Chairperson.
Okay, in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 40A, Foxborough Zoning Bylaw, Section 4.3.3, Non-Conforming Uses and Structures, Section 2.2, Board of Appeals, and Section 2.3, Special Permits. The Foxborough Zoning Board of Appeals will conduct a public hearing on Tuesday, April 15th, 2025, and now continue to today at 7:35 p.m. to review the application for a special permit submitted by Stamsky & McNary, Inc. on behalf of their client, property owner Robert Dowdy. The applicant seeks to tear down the non-conforming structures and reconstruct a new dwelling. This has a bit of a twist, so we should pay careful attention to this particular hearing, because we had talked about a single structure being replacing the two structures, and now I think we'll find out when we hear the presentation, but it sounds like they want to keep the detached garage, raise the detached garage and build a nice new detached garage, but also build a new single-family structure. So who's presenting?
I am, Mr. Chair, Paul Kirchner from Stamsky McNary.
Okay, thanks. Could you bring us up to speed on the new proposal?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to share my screen. Can you see the plan in front of you?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, just to bring us back, so this is the plan we looked at last time. One structure to replace the existing house and detached garage. Since that last meeting, we have submitted this updated plan based on architectural drawings that have been prepared for this project. Eve Eisenberg is here to talk about the architectural components of the project if you would like to hear more on that. But just to take you through what we're proposing here. So our objectives, as we discussed at the last meeting, is we're not to increase the degree of nonconformity within the front yard. So when we went to the drawing board to produce architectural plans, that was really our primary focus as it pertains to this board. We also needed to work to design to the rules of the Conservation Commission. But in any case, what we are proposing at this time is a new single-family dwelling 28 feet from the front property line. That exceeds the current minimum setback of the existing dwelling, that's 27.3 feet. And we're also proposing a new detached garage 20 feet from the front property line compared to the existing detached garage, which is 12.5 feet from the front property line. As you can see, these two proposed structures slightly overlap, but sort of straddle that existing detached garage. So just to sort of frame where this will be on the lot, I feel that's important to note. They are 18 feet apart. And with this proposal, we are still well below the maximum 100% increase in gross floor area that would be allowed for a special permit permitting expansion of a non-conforming structure. We are proposing a 17.3% increase compared to the existing structure. And you can see we've broken down where that increase is actually coming from in this table that we provided to the board. If you have any questions, please let me know, but I think I've covered really what has changed since last time.
So I'm going to paraphrase a little bit. We're raising a single family dwelling and a garage. Both structures are moving slightly further back from their non-conformity. They're slightly decreasing them. And the original proposal was for one structure with the garage attached, and now it's going to be two. So my personal, and I'm not saying I'm voting against it, but there is a change in the plan from the original proposal. And so I think if it is to be approved, the board should also make a finding that this change in the design is not so significant that it needs to be renoticed or anything of that nature. But to me, I see two structures that are, conforming on side and rear setbacks and are being pushed further back that are pretty similar to the ones that were there in the first place. But I do want to point something out. It has something to do with one of the residents, the residential abutters, that had a complaint about the, she referred to it at the time as a rock pile, but it is a stone wall. But that stone wall does not appear to be the original stone wall and with the property, and it also appears to be on town property. And I drove by it, and it is a very a rough stone wall that was installed. I don't think it's original to the property. So I just wanted to caution the property owner that what is there is on town property. Yeah, you could probably highlight it with your cursor. That would be great. Yeah, there it is. I'm not sure that that's original. When you drive by it, it does not appear to be an original stone wall. So while you're putting in the septic field, if it's something that could be cleaned up, it would make the neighbors happy. I know the neighbors are going to be thrilled to see this new house and the project. Generally speaking, I think it's going to be an asset to the neighborhood that this thing be built. I'm just raising that point that, maybe when you put that leaching field in, that you maybe consider, managing that stone wall to make it a little more attractive. But does the board have any questions about the project or the change? Sean?
Paul, can you remind me there's a wetland issue? Where is is it the 100-foot buffer that is the concern?
Yes, it is a 100-foot buffer. So just to be clear, we have not yet updated our wetland permitting plan. So what I'm going to put on the screen shows the house box we talked about last time. I just want to make that clear. It does not show what we're actually proposing now, but it will show the existing condition. So I know I saved that plan that I drew up last time, but now I don't have it with me. Let me try to highlight it. So this is the 100-foot buffer zone on the property. And of course, this is the wetland itself.
So your new your wetlands plan has not been updated to show the new structures as yet.
Correct. Yes, we
Okay.
are on the Conservation Commission's agenda for next week, and we were kind of scrambling to provide the board with revised materials. So we did that at the end of last week. This week we said, let's see what the board thinks before we make a new submission to the Conservation Commission.
And is the idea that with the 20-foot garage setback from Summer Road that you'll be out of the 100-foot buffer?
Yes, the garage will be outside of the 100-foot buffer. So I'm sorry, I don't have this all in one plan, but just sort of, looking at where the buffer zone is in relation to the existing garage, we can kind of internalize that and go back to our plot plan. I mean, the buffer zone is more or less like back here. So it is outside of the buffer zone. This plan, because we've separated the garage from the dwelling, and the garage is closer to the road than the house is, this plan will actually result in less building within the buffer zone than the previous plan that we had presented to the board. So the garage will be entirely outside of it, and less of the house will be inside of it than previously shown.
Eve, I see your hand up. I'm just going to let the board go forward first, okay? But we'll definitely get to you. Any other questions for the board before I get to Eve? Hearing none. Sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sure you'll cover this, but why the change? What drove the change? Was it accessibility? Was it how the garage worked? Was it, because before it looked like that the garage was proposed as part of that single, on that side, part of the single building. So I was just curious as to what changed, So.
Yeah, Eve is probably the best person to comment on that.
Oh, Eve's part of your team. Okay, I didn't realize that. Sorry, Eve. Do you want to explain that to us?
Hi, yes, I would love to explain that. My name is Eve Eisenberg, principal of Inkstone Architects, and I'm super excited to be on the team at this point at the late date. First, I would just, if you don't mind, I'd like to point out, Paul, or Alec, if you have our package, we do have the 100-foot line and the new proposal on it on the second page, I think. There it is. And I don't know if you all can see the dashed line that Alec had highlighted before is still there, but it's not green anymore. There we go. There it is.
Thank you.
So thank you very much. So we just traced Paul's plan and threw it with our plan here. So now you can see that we are even further out from the zone, and that's why we moved it a little bit closer to the street, made it narrow, shallower from front to back and wider from side to side. The reason that we separated the garage off of the house is there was a bit of a confusion over square footages. What is desirable is to replace the existing structure and garage square footage with regards to the size of it, not to go smaller. And there was a miscommunication about whether we were working with a ranch or a little cape. And when we decided to make it a little cape, it just looked better. You get airflow better when you have windows on all four sides of the cape. We've had a little separate garage before, and we kind of like that. So it's purely design preference. There's no practical, or necessity for this. It's just a pure design preference to separate these two things. And we're hoping to pull it farther away from for conservation purposes, pull it farther away from the wetlands. That's all.
Thanks, Eve. Michael?
Yeah, what's the distance between the garage? I can't quite read it. The garage and the house at this point?
18 feet.
Huh? Oh, 18. Okay. Yeah, because I noticed we have this 5.5 that part D, which I'm not sure if it's applicable. It says that accessory buildings need to be at least 10 feet from other structures. So I just want to make sure we're dotting all the I's and crossing the T's in the zoning bylaws. Thanks.
Thanks for bringing that up, Michael. I didn't even consider that. So, but it looks like it's conforming to it, which is good. Any other questions or concerns about this proposal? We further down in the packet, we did get a floor plan. Is that right? Yeah. Can we pull up oh, go ahead, Dan.
I was gonna say, part of this is pulling down that there's a shed in the back behind stuff. Part of this plan is pulling that down as well. Yep.
We're not playing.
There was a couple. So yeah, I mean, we're going this far. If we could get those tiny accessory structures that are almost in as bad a shape as the garage down, and I mean, I think, it would be such an asset to the neighborhood. I think the whole thing is going to be great for the neighborhood. Danny, do you have a question? Oh, you're down. Eve?
Hi, yes, I was just going to say, there are actually more structures on this lot that are even showing. And we definitely have to do some triage and make sure that everything on there is new and is serving a purpose, is storing things, is structurally sound. So there's a whole pile of work to do on this lot.
Okay, great. So, any other questions or concerns from the board about this? So, my only thing, maybe we should, just throwing it out there, should we, do we need to be concerned about the fact that the plan has changed? It was just a footprint last time. Is this substantial or in nature, or are we just ready to move ahead with yes or no based on what we've got? Michael.
Is the concern that we changed the four corners of the original public hearing? Because I think the public hearing
is
was for a house and structure, so I'm not sure whether we've crossed that boundary.
So you're comfortable with us just moving ahead?
Right, because generally, even when we've had giant 40B projects, they've morphed over time.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, well, we have an open public hearing. Do we need more input, or should we close
it? I would, Mr. Chair, I'd move to close the public hearing.
Okay, is there a second?
Michael Tube, second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Dan Stuntz?
So just, I have a question to Alec and folks is, what's the order of what we need to do with the conscom? I know we left it open because there was a conscom meeting after ours. Does it matter? Like if we approve this and something and conscom comes back, do we want to leave the public hearing open so that they can, how does that work?
That's a great question. Great question. So what do we do if they go to CONSCOM and they want to make radical changes, or should we just close it anyway? Maybe we should get some input from Paul and maybe Alec as well. Paul, what do you think?
So this project was a little bit unusual because initially we intended to meet the zoning setbacks and put the house further back in the lot so that we wouldn't need to be in front of this board. So we submitted to conservation first, and we're here because they said, try to get a special permit to move this house up. And the reason I say this is because in the Wetland Protection Act regulations, it says, when we file with conservation, we should already have in hand all permits that can be reasonably obtained, or we may elect to submit at the same time. So the Wetlands Protection Act assumes that permits such as special permits from the zoning board, we already have them before we're even talking to conservation. Now, that said, if conservation tells us we don't like it, go back to the drawing board, we have to change the plan so they don't conform to what we're talking about this evening, then that's a problem for us. But that will be our problem. And I am willing to take that risk, which I view as very small, because I am confident that the buildings as proposed conform to the requirements that the commission laid out to us, and any other changes that I can even imagine from conservation are not related to the structures themselves, because we have complied with the limiting the footprint. So I am comfortable with looking for a vote this evening, being mindful of the slight risk that we'd be taking, given that we haven't received conservation approval yet.
Okay, and there's also the possibility that whatever the CONSCOM proposes could be minor in nature if it doesn't increase our non-conformities here. If it would mean moving a building a little to the left or a little to the right or something like that, probably could be done without opening another special permit hearing, but do it the same way we just did with the siding change if the board found that it was minor in nature. So that's also a possibility. So with that in mind, we still have an open motion on the floor. Should we hold the vote for the motion, or is there more discussion?
Is the motion to close the public hearing?
It was, yep.
So I guess the question to Alec is does it matter with what you know from the CONSCOM? Does it matter if we order matter? Obviously, Paul would like it closed out. Do you think it matters to the CONSCOM?
No, the Conservation Commission decision is in no way predicated on your action. You can choose to close, issue a decision tonight, hold it up if see fit, but they'll act independently.
Okay, I'm cool with it then. Sounds good.
Okay, so we'll hold a vote. Than Stunts?
Stunts, aye.
Michael Toops?
Michael Toops, aye.
Sean McCormick?
McCormick, aye.
And Mark Barbadoro, aye. Okay, so we have a slightly modified plan, and is there any conditions that we need to make on this project that we'd like to discuss?
Yes, Mark. So the board did start discussing conditions at their previous meeting. I have added a couple others speculatively based on your discussion tonight, and I do have a draft decision in Word format for you to walk through findings and conditions if you see fit to do so tonight. So why don't I bring those up and we can take a look.
Sounds good. And also include in the motion, if we approve, to let me sign the thing on behalf of the board, so we all don't have to go down there.
Yes.
Okay. All right, board, take a look at the conditions.
Okay, so I've stipulated 5 conditions herein. First and foremost, approval is granted in conformance with the exhibits listed herein and the proceedings of the public hearing. Second, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall record this decision. Third, the proposed new dwelling may not exceed the existing nonconformity and must remain at least 27.3 feet from the summer road right of way. That's the existing line of nonconformity for the principal structure. Now that a garage is also shown on the plan, I've also proposed condition number 4. The proposed new garage shall remain at least 20 feet from the Summer Road right-of-way. I will note that comes based on the plan submitted. The existing accessory structure is 10 feet from the right-of-way, but the applicant shows that being 20 feet in the proposed new garage structure, so I take that number directly from their application. And finally, number 5, and we had talked about this being the trigger point of how is the nonconformity not abandoned throughout the process. That being condition number 5, within 60 days of receiving a temporary certificate of occupancy on the new home, the applicant must demolish the previous dwelling.
And you'll work with our building commissioner to make sure he understands the coordination of the temporary CO and the demolition.
That's correct. Effectively, once the temporary CO is issued, they will not be eligible to receive a final certificate of occupancy until the original structure is demolished, and we further stipulate they have 60 days to get that done, so it keeps everything tightly packed together.
Okay. Anything that the board would like to add? Sean?
And maybe this is a finding rather than a condition, but I think I would like the decision to reflect that the zoning board has determined. I mean, this is a finding standard. So the finding we have to make is that it's not that the relocated structures are not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the prior structures. And I think that's a finding we can easily make because they're giving us more setback, right? And that was the nonconformity. But I do think that I think that our decision needs to be that, or that there should be a finding that they have sort of given us the most setback that they can, because I don't want to send a message that, hey, if you've got wetlands in your backyard, no problem, we're just going to ignore setbacks. So I think that it's important that we say, look, we are making the finding because they have maximized the front yard setback, or conversely, they've minimized the non-conforming, the non-conforming nature of the structures.
I would agree. They're not increasing the non-conforming nature, and further that they due to site constraints, they were prohibited from meeting the setbacks, and that's why we didn't tell them they needed to meet the setbacks.
So is it a balance? Do we want to say something about balancing the, the setbacks needed under various zoning or under various bylaws of the town of Boxborough?
I mean, because I think that the wetland is sort of in the background here, but it's not really before us. And I think it's helpful for us to understand the site constraints. But it might get awkward if we specifically reference it.
So it may just be the bylaws of the town.
Sure.
So they're different. We can say balancing the needs of the different bylaws in the town. So it's not like if there's some other bylaw that's not wetlands, this finding still applies.
I think that makes sense.
Okay, so looking back at your decision, I did start from your last meeting too. I did start recording various findings in here. I agree there are several that are made throughout the process, and as of now, I've taken a stab at number 9 here to try and capture some of the comments that were just made. The way I have it written as of now, the applicant has made exceptional effort to maximize the existing nonconformity, proposing more conforming structures while balancing intrusion on the wetlands located on site. How do we want to carve that up to better meet the board's decision?
Michael Tubes.
Well, I think you want to say minimize the nonconformity, not maximize it. But I'm also a little leery of using that language because if you say claim it's the optimal solution, and somebody said, well, if I move the house 6 inches to the left, that would have been even less nonconforming. I just want to say something like we've balanced the nonconformity of the setbacks uh, in light of the existing structures being replaced and the constraints due to the wetlands or something to that effect. Don't try to say it's the optimal solution.
Okay, so just a second stab at it. The applicant has made effort to minimize the existing nonconformity by proposing more conforming structures while balancing intrusion on the wetlands located on site.
I'm happy with that.
Although
Go ahead, Sean.
technically there's no intrusion on the wetland, they're only in buffer.
Yeah, the wetlands buffer.
You just you're
No,
you're bringing out the nerd in me.
no, thank God, man. That's good. Glad you pointed that out. That's important.
Conscom might take umbrage if they came back with something intruding on the wetlands.
Michael, do you have a comment?
No, I'm good with that. Once you've added the word buffer, that seems to cover what we want to do.
Okay. Sean?
Yeah, there was reference to a ranch style home. Did I see that?
Yes, that is a holdover from the last meeting.
Maybe we're changing it to a cape or something like that. I think it's a cape that they're building now. Well, we should probably look, I guess, before we say that.
Just say home.
Yeah. Perfect.
And then, Mark, you had raised, you wanted to note and make a finding regarding revisions to the plan. So, finding 4, bear with me, between the first and second hearing, the applicant revised their proposal to include a detached garage. And then finding 5, the board finds that the revision is not substantial to the application. And then we proceed. Finding 6, the proposed new home will be constructed approximately 28 feet from the right of way, and the garage will be constructed approximately 20 feet from the right of way, which is taken directly off their revised plan sets.
Cool.
And then finally, finding 10, and this is in my opinion the most important, given that this is a special permit for an extension of a lawfully pre-existing non-conforming structure. The board finds that the application constitutes a lawful extension of a pre-existing non-conforming structure.
Okay, I'm fine with that. Or you may want to also say reconstruction, but like extension and reconstruction, or reconstruction and extension, or something like that.
Is it an extension of the pre-existing condition, or is it an extension of the structure? I guess is where that question becomes in that statement. Non-conformity of a structure. Pre-existing non-conformity of the structure. Yeah. I'll let Sean look at that and wince as he
Yeah, so my suggestion would be after the words structure, you put a comma and we say and the board finds that it's not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood.
Great. Missing an E on therefore. Is that right? Or am I spelling it wrong? Probably me.
Right above grant. Grant with conditions, right above that.
That's probably why it's underlined.
There we go. Thank God for spell check.
Sticking by my ass.
Anything else we need to do this before we finish it up?
I have nothing else. I still need to add the signature page and fill out the list of exhibits, but that's just the administrative bits.
We ready to approve this?
Move to approve the decision as drafted and give the chair the right to sign it for the board.
There's a second? Second by Sean, moved by Michael. Any discussion? Hearing none. Dan Stuntz,
Stuntz, aye.
Sean McCormick,
McCormick, aye.
Michael Toops,
Michael Toops, aye.
and Mark Barbadoro, aye. All right, thanks for coming in.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I think we may have. I don't have an update on rules and regs, and I don't know if anyone else has done any work on it. Has anybody done any work on it? I haven't done any.
Mr. Chair, we do have minutes from our last meeting.
Yes, sir. We have the minutes of April 15th, 2025. Alec, would you mind putting them up on the screen?
Yeah, happy to do so.
Does anybody have any revisions to the minutes of April 15th, 2025? I'm not hearing any. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes of April 15th, 2025?
Been moved to approve.
Okay,
Michael Toops,
second. Okay, moved by Sean, second by Michael. Any discussion? I'm not hearing any. Dan?
Stuntz, aye.
Michael Toops?
Michael Toops, aye.
Sean McCormick?
McCormick, aye.
And Mark Barbadoro, aye. And before we close this hearing, I did want to tell our wonderful stenographer who sent me an email of apology calling me Mark White when at the last set of minutes, and I just wanted to tell her that that was all tongue in cheek. I was not mad about it, and I've been called far worse than Mark White in my life. So thank you for all the great work that our stenographer does. Michael.
Just a quick one. I found what I thought was the reg I was looking for earlier, except after the recodification, it looks different. It's under 5.4, but the title is Intensity Regulations for Structures Other than Buildings. But then it's got language about in all districts, no structure shall be herefore erected or used on a lot that does not conform to the middle lot area requirements, and B does not have the meet one half the minimum setback. So that didn't quite seem to be the one I was looking for, but we do have these weird things that float around in our regulations.
Well, every time we codify. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, I think you're going to say every time we codify, something gets lost.
Every time we recodify, something happens that was unforeseen, and this may be another one of them. So I'll definitely check.
I don't know what the original language was, because I remember we had a big discussion about not being able to put a pool in because it was a detached structure in a lot that was pre-existing non-conforming because of the lot area. But this doesn't seem to quite read the way that was. So I need to probably go back and look and see what was the one that caused us all that grief. It was one I didn't like being in the in our bylaws, but unfortunately at the time we were struggling with it.
I remember the case. I do not remember the context or the substance of the issue, but I remember the case, and I remember us trying to figure out what to do. I just don't remember what the resolution was. But
This is a this is a strange provision, right? 5.4. I mean, in all districts, no structure may hereafter be erected on a lot that does not comply with the minimum area requirements. I mean, that's pretty obvious, right? That's why they're called minimum area requirements. But then the second half, unless it meets at least one half of the minimum setback, does that mean you can build on an undersized lot if you're at 50% of the setback? Because that seems like a weird result.
oh my God.
Yeah,
I don't have the
this is
bylaw.
not what I remember reading in the past that caused us all the grief. I thought it was only Part A, unless it's somewhere else in the regs. But there's also other oddities, because with all the lots being pretty much pre-existing non-conforming, because we upped the lot area, that was preventing people from putting in structures like swimming pools and stuff on pre-existing non-conforming lots, because they had 40,000 square feet, not the 60,000 we currently require. At least that was what ended up in that case. And there was some discussion about having the planning board take something to town meeting to try to repair some of this, but I don't think it ever happened over.
So actually, we've had meetings at the planning board with a lot of drama about bylaws lately, and one of the things that I think we kind of learned through the process was that there's a referral made, but there is a report made by the planning board every time. So the ZBA could look at a bylaw that seems hokey that we have to deal with. It causes us difficulty making findings and decisions, and we could give a suggestion and refer it to the planning board, and they could hold a hearing on it, and they could draft some language to bring to town meeting that might fix it. So we have a right to do that with stuff that is that we can't decipher, that we need some clarity. So if there is something that someone wants to bring up, we can look at it, evaluate it, and refer it to the planning board and let them create a report that, if the select board wants to put it in the warrant, could be brought to town meeting.
The other thing I'm struggling with on that 5.4 is the title seems to be structures other than buildings, although the regulation underneath it does not use that language. This is just bizarre.
Now, you guys are really piquing my curiosity. It's the last thing I want to do tonight is go open the frickin' bylaw and read that stuff. But now you're going to make me do it, so I'll probably touch on it in the morning, but not tonight. But I've got it written down. I'm going to look at it. So
the 2021 had the same language.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, what do you say? Do you guys want to close this hearing and get on with our lives, or?
Yes, please.
If that's a second, Michael, then excuse me. If that's a motion, Michael, then you have my second.
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
All right, and seconded by Sean. Any discussion? Hearing none. Than.
Sun's eye.
Michael Toops.
Michael Toops, aye.
Sean McCormick.
McCormick, aye.
And Mark Barbadoro, aye. Thanks, Al.